16 inches, a 1 7 twist rate, government profile, 0.750 inch journal, mid-length gas system, 4150 Chromoly Vanadium steel with a black nitride finish. Sounds familiar, right? That's because it's the same manufacturing jargon listed on most AR-15 barrels that you're gonna find today. Personally, guys, I have read a million barrel descriptions on the internet, and I almost never leave that product page understanding why that specific barrel is better or worse than any other barrel that's out there on the market that I could be using on the end of my AR-15. But that ends today. Look, guys, the barrel is one of the most important, if not the most important part of your AR-15 build. It decides how far you can shoot, it decides how accurate your rounds are capable of being, and most importantly, it ultimately decides what kind of rounds you're going to be able to shoot with that rifle. But there's a lot that goes into making a barrel decision. This is the AT3 Tactical AR-15 Barrel Guide. I'm Josh, your guide, and this is episode 1 of what's going to be a multi-part series where we explore literally everything there is to know about AR-15 barrels together so that collectively we can all be better informed about what the heck a cold hammer forged barrel actually is, past just some marketing buzzword that manufacturer X put on their website. Let's kick this series off by talking about what our AR-15 barrels are actually made out of. This probably isn't something that a lot of us have put any real thought into before, but the barrel material selection does actually matter and have an impact. When choosing a material for the purpose of building a barrel, manufacturers need to choose something that's designed to withstand extreme heat, extreme pressure, and extreme wear from repeated firing. The tensile strength of the metal and the metal's ability to retain its strength and hardness is key here, and it's why manufacturers can't save money by skimping and going with a cheaper aluminum like they do elsewhere on the firearm. Think of your barrel as a vessel for containing the heat and the pressure of each round after it's been fired. If you went with a cheaper aluminum alloy, it simply would not be safe. We're talking about repeated instances of pressures up to 55,000 to 62,000 psi with constant heat reaching in excess of 500 to 800 degrees Fahrenheit, all while a projectile is scraping its way down the rifling inside of your barrel at 3,000 feet per second. To prevent rupturing, warping, or just plain rapid degradation of the barrel itself, manufacturers have to rely on specialized steel alloys when making their barrels. The most common types of steel alloy used in the manufacture of an AR-15 barrel are 4140 and 4150 Chromoly steel, 4150 Chrome-Moly Vanadium steel, and 416R stainless steel. You can usually find out what kind of steel was used in your barrel by checking the stamping from the manufacturer on the barrel itself. It's going to usually look something like this. Now, barrel finishes are also an important part of the equation here too, and there's some standout materials like carbon fiber that we're going to get into in just a second, but let's actually break down these alloys first, as they are by far the most common types of material that you're going to see in a barrel, and I personally think you should understand it. 4140 Chromoly steel is up first. This is widely regarded as the entry-level barrel material. You might also see it called 4140 Chromoly or just 4140 CM in a casual conversation. The Society of Automotive Engineers, believe it or not, are actually the guys who helped us figure out what these metal designations actually mean. So let's start with what 4140 actually means first. Each number here stands for something, and this is going to apply later. So guys, I hope you're taking notes because I'm only going to cover this once. The first digit indicates the primary alloying elements. Since we have the number 4 here, that means it's a chromium molybdenum, molybdenum. Some of these words are a little tough. That means it's a chromium molybdenum alloy steel. Chromium adds hardness, corrosion resistance, and strength, and the molybdenum trips my tongue up, but it improves the toughness, heat resistance, and the hardenability of the barrel. Now, the second digit specifies the series within that group. In this instance, 1 is the standard Chrome-Moly series, and it's all we're really going to be talking about today, so that's where we're going to leave it. Higher numbers might indicate modifications, but for the most part, we're working with this standard modification of 1, and there's no need to complicate this subject any further right now. So 4 is the metal, 1 is the deviation. The last 2 digits represent the carbon content in hundredths of a percent. Carbon is the biggest driver of hardness and strength, and in the case of 4140, we know that we have a 0.40% carbon content in the barrel. The easiest thing to remember is that more carbon equals harder and tougher steel if the manufacturer is doing their part through the process of actually making the barrel. Now that 0.40 might indicate something like 0.38% carbon or 0.41% carbon, but it should total out to about 0.40% carbon. So here's the actual chemical makeup of a 4140 CM barrel and what it might actually look like for those of you guys who are super into metal nerd stuff. It's going to be right here. You can go ahead and pause the video. Now, why would a manufacturer use 4140 CM steel on their barrel? Simple answer, guys, it's cheaper to acquire, it's easier to machine with, and if I'm the manufacturer, this is exactly what I want to use to save cash while machining a budget-friendly poverty pony for my entry-level customers who are not shooting their barrel out every 6 months. For you, you might pick this metal because you know the rifle you're building isn't going to be a high-volume rifle, or it's your first build and you just want to save a little cash on the project because you're worried you might mess something up. Now, 4140 offers decent tensile strength, good durability for non-abusive use, and it pairs well with your affordable finishes like nitrate and phosphate. That cost saving, however, comes with the drawbacks of having a slightly less heat-resistant material that's not as long-lasting as the competition under heavy use. It's also not as inherently accurate or corrosion resistant as something like 416R stainless, unless it has extra treatments, and those extra treatments are often going to push the barrel cost up just a little bit, in which case it might be easier just to go with a 4150. Now, the simple upgrade for 4140 that I'm not going to dig too deep into is to change to a 4150 CM. This is pretty much the exact same thing as everything that I just talked about with 4140, but we have 0.10% more carbon content in the barrel, which is going to give us slightly more durability and heat resistance with a little bit better accuracy over the life of the barrel, which is also going to be slightly longer because of that extra carbon content in the barrel. Taking it up a notch from the standard CM barrel materials, we get to the 4150 Chromoly Vanadium steel, or just 4150 CMV. Not only are we increasing the carbon content of the barrel here with the additional 0.10% carbon, but we're also adding a small amount of material called vanadium into the metal mix. Usually this is going to be to the tune of 0.08 or 0.15%, which is going to help refine the grain structure of the steel and improve the wear resistance of the barrel, and also make the steel even tougher at those increased temperatures that you'll see on something like a duty rifle. Here's what the chemical makeup of a 4150 CMV barrel actually looks like when it's broken down into English for all of my Forged in Fire champions out there. Go ahead and pause the video again if you want to take a look at that. Now, with these compositional changes in the barrel, we're going to get a hardier steel all around. This comes with a slightly increased cost, but from the perspective of someone that pulls the trigger a lot, that might actually matter quite a bit more than you think to have that hardier metal inside of the barrel. That extra carbon and vanadium in the mix gives the barrel a higher tensile strength, far better heat resistance, and a much longer barrel life, which is something that you just absolutely have to have if you're going to use the firearm all the time. From the manufacturer's standpoint, 4150 CMV is the go-to metal for something that's going to see high mileage from the end user. Think about your duty grade rifles or the guns that you grab when the aliens from Mars are invading Earth. Like I said, it's a bit more expensive to produce than just standard 4140 CM or 4150 CM. So the barrels are going to cost about $20 to $50 more on average. But for most people building a reliable, no BS rifle, that small premium is actually worth it to get a 20 to 25K round barrel that's going to let you put some serious training in before the barrel is actually shot out. Now, to check your barrel, if you're looking for that CMV, what you're going to look at is you're going to look at the metal contents. That's going to be that 4150 CR R, M, O, and V. Each of those letters represents the element that's put into the barrel. So in this case, we've got CR for chromium, MO for molybdenum, and then V for the vanadium. Those are the elements that are making up this barrel steel. Let's move on to the next one. So you think maybe we could stop there because we've clearly established a good, better, best, but we're not done just yet. There's still one more common metal that we have to talk about in the barrel space, and that's everyone's favorite 416R stainless steel, which is by far the most common and preferred grade for high quality, precision oriented barrels. Major manufacturers like Proof Research, Faxon, Criterion, Ballistic Advantage, and a whole host of other guys have 416R to turn to when they want to build a barrel that is perfectly tuned for getting the round exactly where you want it downrange. When it comes to stainless steel, you might see standard 416 stainless or 410 stainless or 17-4 precipitation hardening stainless, or a couple of other proprietary blends that are out there, but 416R is quite literally the gold standard for accuracy-centric builds because it was designed with barrel manufacturing in mind. Here's what the makeup of that material looks like. You can go ahead and pause the video if you want to check out the elements inside. Now, 416R is a resulfurized pre-hardened martinistic stainless steel, meaning that they've added controlled sulfur to make it machine-like butter while keeping a high chromium content for natural corrosion resistance and excellent performance in cold temperatures down to -40 degrees Fahrenheit. That means with 416R, you're getting much smoother bores, much tighter tolerances, and an inherent edge in accuracy. Now, the trade-off for this sub-MOA accuracy is that it's going to wear much faster under sustained rapid fire. Of course, modern finishes like nitride can dramatically extend life on any of these materials, and that's why we're going to cover barrel finishes in this series in a future episode. But for now, we're just focusing on the base steel itself of 416R. Ultimately, what it boils down to is tighter groups, a higher cost, lower round counts for the life of the barrel, and that's really the bottom line. Now, with 416R, there's also one more emergent material that's worth mentioning in the barrel space, and that is your carbon fiber wrapped barrels. These aren't your everyday option, guys. They are super, super, super niche and very cost prohibitive for almost all of us. With, I think they have about a $500 to $1,000 premium attached to some of these barrels, but they're becoming more common every year, and with that, the price is starting to come down. Brands like Proof Research, BSF, and Christensen Arms are producing these very regularly now, so I figured we should cover them real quick just so that you guys have an idea of what they actually are. So here's how the barrels actually work. They start with a 416R stainless steel liner that handles all of the pressure and the rifling and the chambering, you know, all of the critical parts that the barrel needs to do. And then the barrel gets wrapped in a high-strength aerospace-grade carbon fiber using some sort of proprietary process that I can't adequately explain here in a YouTube video. And what you end up with is often a 60 to 65% lighter barrel compared to a full steel barrel like the ones that are here on the table. This makes your rifle lighter for hunting or competition or doing long-range movements with the rifle, and that's one of the big wins to it. Now, is the carbon fiber wrap actually improving the accuracy or the barrel harmonics or the heat dissipation? There's a lot of debate about that online, with some people saying like absolutely carbon fiber is the best, and then you've got a whole other camp of people who disagree with that and think it's just good for dropping a couple ounces, that everything else is just marketing fluff from the companies that are making those barrels. But we're going to leave that debate for you guys down in the comment section, and I'm not going to get super involved with it because I have very limited experience with it, so we'll let you guys go down there. Either way, it's an option that's worth talking about if you're chasing ultralight performance, and it's something that you should be aware of because the technology and the manufacturing processes that go into that are improving every single year, and we keep seeing more and more of these barrels, so it's just something I wanted to get on your radar. But before we move on, let's be absolutely real for a minute. The base steel is super important, but it's only part of the story with the barrels. How the barrel is made and finished can actually make a huge difference in how the barrel is performing and how long the barrel is going to last. For example, many of the best duty grade barrels are 4150 CMV steel that are cold hammer forged and chrome lined. That process work hardens the steel, extends the barrel life under heavy abuse, and it adds a lot of additional durability against heat and wear over time. Most high mileage civilian barrels today are going to be nitrided, which hardens the surface dramatically and can make even a solid 4150 cm last 15 to 25,000 rounds before the accuracy really starts to drop on the barrel, or you do what's called shooting the barrel out. On the flip side of that, your precision barrels and 416R stainless are usually going to shine when they have button rifling or cut rifling for those super tight tolerances and the super consistent shot groups. But they can wear a lot faster under mag dump heat conditions without a nitride treatment being added to them at the end. And these round counts, guys, they're not set in stone either. The real lifespan depends on your firing schedule, your ammo type, how hot you're running the rifle, and how much maintenance you're doing. A nitrided or chrome-lined 4150 CMV duty barrel might handle 20,000 rounds of moderate training, no problem, while an untreated precision 416R could start opening up your groups after just 5 to 10,000 rounds of hard use. Most of us, though, we never come close to shooting out a quality barrel anyways. If you're anything like I am, then I already know that you're going to be upgrading your barrel long before you start to see any degradation in the performance. But we're going to get more into those subjects later. It's just worth bringing up now so you don't think that I'm saying this is the end all be all with metals. So let's recap and go over just metals. I want you to imagine yourself as a major barrel manufacturer just for a minute. You've got a full lineup of unfinished barrel blanks for every kind of AR-15 barrel under the sun, and right now you're in the warehouse sorting stacks of them so that you can get them ready to get shipped out to production. Now, in your budget stack of barrels, you've got a mountain of 4140 CM blanks. These are going to be perfect for your low-cost, mass-produced rifles that are getting people into the AR-15 for the very first time, something you might find on the shelf of like a Dunham's. Now, one step to the right of that, you're going to have a crate full of 4150 CM. These are just enough extra to deliver a solid, no-nonsense barrel, but outside of your internal quality control being a little bit more intense due to the slight cost premium, there isn't a whole lot extra put into these than the 4140 barrels that you just had. Now, next to that big crate of 4150 CM, you're going to have another slightly smaller crate for maybe a government contract or something, full of 4150 CMV blanks with the added vanadium and higher carbon content. These barrels are going to go out to get installed on duty rifles they're going to get shot a whole ton by semi-professional or professional shooters that need something that can take a heck of a lot of abuse. Now, on the very top shelf, you've got your 416R stainless steel blanks that are reserved for competition shooters and professional hunters that want to keep those sub-MOA groups. They're all just barrel blanks made from different materials at the end of the day, but now you should have a solid understanding of what those different materials actually mean and how to identify which materials were used in your barrel. We'll see you in the next episode where we're going to be covering down on barrel twist rate and how barrels are actually rifled. We'll see you there. Because we're going to be coming and going, and molybdenum. I have to say this word like 15 times. And every time it's going to me up.